Ancient civilizations were full of fascinating and sometimes downright bizarre customs. From rituals honoring the gods to unusual practices in daily life, these traditions can seem strange to us today, but were deeply meaningful in their time. Welcome to my channel, everyone. In this video, I am counting down the top 10 most bizarre rituals in ancient civilizations that will leave you amazed and maybe even a little shocked. Let's get started. Ancient Egyptians didn't just mummify pharaohs, they preserved their pets too. Cats, dogs, even ibises were mummified to join their owners in the afterlife. But why? Egyptians believed animals had souls and could act as messengers to the gods. The god Anubis had a jackal's head, and Bastet was depicted as a cat. Archaeologists have uncovered millions of animal mummies in places like Saqqara, with some temples even operating as pet cemeteries, where people could pay priests to mummify their beloved animals. X-rays reveal some were treated better than others, some carefully wrapped, others just bundles of bones. Romans believed gladiator blood had healing powers. After fights, spectators would rush to collect fresh blood from fallen warriors, drinking it straight or mixing it into potions to cure epilepsy. The famous scholar Pliny the Elder wrote that gladiator blood could ward off seizures when consumed. This belief stemmed from the idea that a strong warrior's vitality could transfer to the sick. Even more bizarre, some Romans used the sweat and dirt scraped from gladiator skin as aphrodisiacs. Talk about extreme fandom. For nearly 1,000 years, young Chinese girls as young as 4 to 7 years old endured foot binding, a painful process that broke their arches and folded their toes under the sole to create tiny 3-4-inch lotus feet. This extreme beauty standard became a status symbol, showing that a woman's family was so wealthy she didn't need to work. The binding process took years, often causing infections, paralysis, and lifelong pain. While banned in 1912, some elderly women in remote areas still had bound feet well into the 21st century. The Inca performed capacocha, ritual sacrifices of children to appease their gods during famines or disasters. These kids, chosen for their beauty and purity, were given lavish feasts and coca leaves before being left to freeze on Andean peaks. The famous mummy Juanita, discovered in 1995, was so well preserved that scientists could still see the coca in her stomach and the elaborate textiles she wore. These sacrifices weren't seen as cruel. The children were believed to become divine messengers. Some parents even considered it an honor. According to Norse sagas, Vikings performed the brutal blood eagle on their worst enemies, allegedly cutting the ribs from the spine and pulling the lungs out to resemble wings. While historians debate how often this actually occurred, texts like the Orkneyinga saga describe it in gruesome detail. Some scholars suggest it may have been poetic exaggeration, but skeletal evidence shows victims did suffer violent, ritualized deaths. Either way, it served as the ultimate revenge and warning to others. In Sparta, newborns weren't just welcomed, they were tested. Elders would bathe babies in wine, believing weak ones would convulse, then inspect them for defects. Those deemed unfit were abandoned on Mount Tegetos. This harsh eugenics program ensured only the strongest survived. Surprisingly, some rejected babies were secretly raised by nearby villagers, meaning some Spartans might have had weak siblings living among them. The Aztecs built terrifying skull racks called zompantli, wooden structures displaying thousands of sacrificed enemies' skulls. Recent excavations in Mexico City uncovered a 60-meter-long rack with over 650 skulls, including women and children. The Aztecs believed these displays fed the sun god Huitzilopochtli and prevented the apocalypse. Spanish conquistadors described the stench as unbearable, with some skulls still having flesh when mounted. The Aztec worldview was built on a foundation of sacrifice. Victorians turned grief into wearable art by crafting jewelry from dead relatives' hair. Lockets, brooches, and elaborate wreaths contained woven strands of hair, sometimes combined with pearls and gold. Hair didn't decay like flowers, making it the perfect memento. Some pieces even contained hair from multiple family members, creating family trees of hair. Queen Victoria herself wore a locket with Prince Albert's hair for 40 years after his death. Until banned in 1829, some Hindu widows performed sati, burning alive on their husband's funeral pyre. While never universal, it was seen as the ultimate wifely duty in certain regions. Historical accounts describe some women going willingly, while others were forced. The practice sparked outrage among British colonizers and Indian reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, whose campaigns led to its abolition. Today, rare illegal cases still occur in remote areas. Maori warriors preserved the tattooed heads, mokomokai, of enemies and revered ancestors. The elaborate facial tattoos, tamoko, were sacred, so after death, heads were smoked and dried to preserve them. But when Europeans began collecting them as curiosities, a gruesome black market emerged. Some Maori even traded heads for muskets during intertribal wars. Today, New Zealand's government actively repatriates stolen mokomokai from museums worldwide. Which of these ancient customs shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this journey into the weird and wild past, smash that like button and subscribe for more mind-blowing history. See you in the next video.